Hello, welcome back to Learning English with Alex. I am so happy, so thrilled that so many people really do enjoy these videos. I've noticed from the comment section below, a lot of you are leaving me really great comments and really great questions. And originally, this channel was meant for our intermediate learners. But I noticed there are a lot of beginner learners, a lot of intermediate learners, and I've noticed there's quite a few advanced learners as well. I love everyone who enjoys learning English. And I noticed from the comment section below, and again, I do read all the comments and I answer all the comments. Sometimes I'm not sure how to answer some of your questions. For example, someone sent me a question, hey Alex, why is your head so big? I don't know, it's just big. I wasn't sure how to answer that question, but it was really funny. And I do love reading the comments that you send me. It really helps me see who's actually joining us here on the channel. So please send me comments in the comment section. It really does help me know who's visiting the channel. Also, if you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button down below. That way you'll see our videos as soon as they come out every Friday. Now in today's video, we're going to talk about writing strategies, how to organize your sentences in an order so people can understand what you're saying. If you haven't watched our videos before, what is a noun, what is a verb, what is an adjective, what is an adverb, and what are conjunctions, it's really important you go back and take a look at some of those videos. It will really help you with today's video. Without any further ado, let's get over to the classroom and start today's lesson. All right, let's get started with today's video. So today we're going to talk about writing strategies and putting your sentences in order so other people can understand you when you talk to them. I think when you're giving individuals maybe instructions how to go somewhere or maybe how to cook a certain food, it's a little bit easier because you would start with, first you do this, then you do this, next you do this, finally this. So that order is a little bit easier to understand. But not all the time you will see that order. It might look a little different. So today we're going to practice some different ways to put things in order, and you don't necessarily have to use first, next, then, or finally. First, let's take a look at this example right here. So here I'm going to tell you how to make cookies. So last night I made cookies at home. First, I mixed the chocolate. Next, I added ice cream. Finally, I ate the cookies. Now, I know this is probably not the right way to make cookies. If you know me, I can't cook. But that's not the important part here. The important part is the order that I told you how to make cookies. So one important thing to look at here, whenever you're starting off telling someone information, you should always start with a time. For example, last night. So you're giving the listener an idea of when something happened. Also, it is important to talk about where it happened. So for example, last night I made cookies at home, right? So we're talking about a time and we're talking about a place. Last night I made cookies at home. First, I mixed the chocolate. Next, I added ice cream. Finally, I ate the cookies. Okay, I know a lot of you guys are looking at this and thinking to yourself, Alex, that is not how you make cookies. I know. I do not know how to cook anything. Sometimes I have difficulty making toast. But that's not the important point here. You always want to start with the time and the place. It really makes things a lot more easy to follow if you start off with the time. Yesterday, last week, 2 days ago, last month, and then a place. At my home, in a park, When you tell where something happened and when something happened, it gives a picture to the other person of what's going on. And it helps them be able to imagine what you say a lot clearer. So you do want to start with a time and a place. So I think in this example, most of you probably understand this and understand how to do it. Starting off with first, next, finally, it's really easy for a lot of beginner learners to explain things. All right, let's take a look at one more example that might be a little bit more challenging, but I think you can do it. Let's take a look at this one. My brother drove to Vancouver last weekend. When he got there, he had lunch with his girlfriend. After that, they went to the movies. Later that evening, they watched the sunset at the beach. When you look at this example here, the time is last weekend. Where? Vancouver. So in our other example, we had first, next, finally, but here it's a little different. When he got there, he had lunch with his girlfriend. After that, they went to the movies. Later that evening, they watched the sunset at the beach. In this example, you can see it started last weekend. He had lunch, they went to the movies, and later that evening, they watched the sunset. So in this example, you can see a picture in your mind what happened, when it happened, who it happened to, and where it happened. When you're giving someone information, you really want to paint a picture about when, where, who, and why. This really does help the listener understand what you're talking about. Now, I know a lot of you have heard about the 5 W's. What, when, where, who, and why. Whenever you're giving information, the more W's you use, the clearer information will be. Who are you talking about? When? Where are you talking about? Why are you talking about? But if you can do the first 4, it's really helpful for people to understand what you're talking about. So again, in this example, who, we're talking about my brother. When? Last weekend. Where? Vancouver. And why? Because he went to meet his girlfriend. So in this example, we covered 4 of the W's, so it makes information a lot clearer to understand. Okay, let's take a look at another example. Last night, my children went trick-or-treating. When they returned home, their bags were full of candy. I told my children not to eat too much candy, but they did it anyway. Today, they feel sick. So when did it happen? It happened last night. Who? My children. Where? Trick-or-treating outside. And why? Because they wanted candy. So in this example here, you can see we answered 4 of the W's when you're giving information to someone. It really does help people understand you better if you can fill in those 4 points there. Who, when, where, and why. If you can give that information, it really will help the listener understand you. Also, it's really important to start off with a time. So last night, last week, last year, yesterday. Start off with those times so people can follow where you're going. All right, let's take a look at another example. Last year, when I lived in Alaska, I cried every day in the wintertime. The temperature was so cold, I couldn't go outside for more than 10 minutes. So, me and my family moved to California. Now, me and my family are really happy. All right, let's take a look at this one. So, when did it happen? Last year. Who? Me and my family. Where? Alaska. And why? Because it was cold. So in these examples, you can see I answer 4 of the W's. Who, what, when, and why. If you can give that information to the listener, it will make your story so much easier to follow. Now remember, if you're giving directions about how to go somewhere, or maybe directions how to cook something, you don't have to worry about the 4 W's. If you're giving someone directions how to go somewhere, it doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter who the person is. You're just giving directions. Go straight, turn left, next, turn right, and finally you're there. Or if you're baking a cake, you first mix cookies, then you mix butter, next you add, I don't know how to cook. But the point is, if you're giving someone instructions how to cook something, how to make something, it's not important to who or when or why. What is important, but the other ones are not very important because you're just giving instructions how to do something. But if you're telling someone about a story, about something happened to you, or about something that happened to your family member or to a friend, or about something in the past, it's really important that you think about those 4 W's. Who, what, when, and why. If you can answer those questions in your story, it will make things a lot easier for the listener to understand. Okay? And lastly, when you do start telling your story, try to start with the time. Last week, last month, yesterday, 2 days ago. Starting with the time makes things a lot easier to follow. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you understood. If you have any questions, please ask me down below. I would love to answer and I would love to chat with you. Until I see you next time, aloha.